All right, so to kick things off, I have a question for you all, and I won't be able to hear your answers, so you don't need to shout them out. But if you could wave a magic wand to make a service management task disappear from your plate, which task would you choose? While you're pondering that, I'd like to welcome you to today's session. I'm Nicole Pitaro, a product marketing magician for Jira Service Management, and I'm joined today by Phil Oy, who is a wizard on the JSM product team. And if you can't tell by our intro already, we're going to be talking to you about making ITSM magic with our new AI innovations for Jira Service Management. So we'll get into demoing some of those innovations in just a bit, but first we want to tell you a little bit more about our approach to AI and demystify some of the magic behind it. So back to my original question. If you could make a task disappear, I'm guessing some of the things that came to mind for you were things that are tedious or manual or time-consuming. Things like answering repetitive questions or going back and forth on a ticket, trying to adjust your tone for a disgruntled customer. But what if you could make those actually disappear? So sticking with our magic theme, if we think about all of you as our service management wizards, then your ITSM platform is kind of like your magic wand. It helps you to deliver great employee and customer support, but if you have the wrong wand, you're going to get the wrong results. In this case, the wrong wand or the wrong ITSM platform can translate to bad service management. You just heard all about our fight to end BSM and how Jira Service Management is helping both help seekers and support teams alike combat things like nausea and migraines from these outdated, manual, often overly complex service experiences. More specifically, you briefly heard about one of the biggest assets that JSM has in our fight against BSM, which is the ability to supercharge our platform with artificial intelligence. Now, we've offered intelligent experiences in JSM for years, but earlier this year at Team 23, you probably heard that we introduced the magic of Atlassian Intelligence, which is our collection of AI-powered capabilities built into the Atlassian platform. Now, obviously, AI is a hot topic these days. It's kind of disrupting every industry, but what's unique about our particular approach to AI is that our AI models are layered on top of what we call the Atlassian Teamwork Graph. That's made up of over 20 years of connected insights into how teams operate and how work flows across an organization and an ecosystem of tools. And because of this, we're able to provide a differentiated native AI experience that's contextual to you, it's contextual to your teams, and it's contextual to your workflows. Now, our models embrace two forms of AI. The first is assistive AI, which enhances your own human abilities and helps with improving task efficiency and decision-making. So within JSM, that includes things like grouping similar incidents or surfacing relevant past issues or surfacing relevant Confluence articles. It also includes parts of our new virtual agent feature, like its ability to capture issue context and seamlessly hand off an issue to a human agent helping them. On the other side of things, we have generative AI, which you've obviously heard a lot of buzz about lately. Generative AI acts more like an additional member of your team. So we have a number of new capabilities in JSM powered by Atlassian Intelligence that can create and transform content to reduce cognitive load for your team. It does things like summarize information, generate customer responses, generate new Confluence articles, and we're going to demo all of that in just a moment. Now, while it's exciting to think about all the potential of these AI-powered capabilities, with all these possibilities comes a lot of uncertainty and a lot of questions. There's a lot of pressure these days to be infusing AI into everything that we do, but most people don't even really understand how it works or what your data is being used for. So we understand some teams will have reservations about adopting AI features, and that's why trust is at the forefront of everything we're doing with Atlassian Intelligence. So what does that mean? That means you're in control. Our mission is to unleash the potential of every team, not replace them. So with Atlassian Intelligence, you're always in the driver's seat. You have the power to decide if, when, where, or how you're utilizing these AI features. Additionally, this means that your data is safe. The data that you submit and the responses that you receive via Atlassian Intelligence are used only to serve your own experience. They're not stored by OpenAI. They're not used to train models across other customers. They're not used to fine-tune OpenAI's models. Each data request is sent to OpenAI individually over an SSL encrypted service to process and send back to Atlassian. I encourage you to check out our AI Trust Center, which we've linked here. It provides a little more insight into our approach to AI and also more insight into how we responsibly handle your data. And so with that, let's get into the good stuff. I'm going to turn it over to Phil, who's going to show you some of the newest AI features available in JSM.
Great. Thanks, Nicole. So I'm super excited to share what we've built. So for today's demo, I want to walk through a few capabilities across the platform that can help you do three things. First, unlock answers to deliver instant, always-on support. Accelerate time-consuming tasks to help to free up your time to focus on high-value work. And streamline the process of getting started with a new service project, particularly for non-technical teams. But first, before I show you any of these cool capabilities, one thing to note, in order to use some of them, you're going to need to first activate Atlassian Intelligence for Jira Service Management. So let me explain how to do that. Fortunately, this is super easy to do. An org admin, an org administrator, simply needs to navigate to admin.atlassian.com. You'll see at the top, there's a settings tab. Click on that. On the left, you'll find Atlassian Intelligence. There on the left, and click Select Products to activate. Now, you'll get a list of the products on your site. Be sure to select Jira Service Management, but feel free to add any other products for which you want to activate Atlassian Intelligence as well. Once you're ready, go ahead and click Next. And then you'll be presented with the terms. So you'll be able to check out the Trust Center that Nicole just mentioned. And when you're ready, click the box to accept them and hit Save. And that's it. You have Atlassian Intelligence enabled for Jira Service Management and any of the other Atlassian products that you selected. OK, so what does this unlock? What can we do? So let's talk about unlocking answers with virtual agent and AI answers. So Jira Service Management already has what we call conversational ticketing. We refer to it as JSM chat, but it allows you to capture, manage, resolve requests directly from your favorite chat tools. Now, this is a great experience for help seekers. Why? Well, it's a tool they use every day to connect with colleagues, and it's a great way to get help because it's super immediate, right? But it can be difficult to scale for service teams if you are resource constrained. So this is why we built Virtual Agent. The Virtual Agent automates support interactions in your chat tools to free up agent time to focus on higher value work and help teams deliver exceptional service at scale. So, and as mentioned today by Edwin in the keynote, we're excited to share that as of today, Virtual Agent is now generally available in Slack. Feel free to clap quietly. It's silent disco. I'm going to share some more about how it works, but I highly recommend joining our hands-on demo lab session, which is through those doors this afternoon after lunch, where we'll deep dive where you can play with your own laptop and deep dive on virtual agent setup. But for now, I want to do a high-level look at how it works. So there are two main ways that you can configure the virtual agent depending on the type and complexity of the requests you're looking to automate. You can use either or both to help deflect tickets and deliver fast support to your customers. So we'll start with Atlassian Intelligence Answers, or AI Answers for short, which uses generative AI powered by Atlassian Intelligence to search across your linked knowledge base to generate responses to customer questions. That was a mouthful, but as mentioned, and as that name would kind of indicate, you'll need to activate Atlassian Intelligence for this feature to work. So let's see how it works. So you may recognize this guy from the keynote and taking a lot of interesting fan mail, but you might not also know that he is moonlights as the headmaster and IT admin for the Atlassian School of Magic. So Headmaster Farquhar's team has built up a huge, robust knowledge base of common IT problems that students and faculty face at the school. Things like troubleshooting wand malfunctions and getting access to the school's Wi-Fi network. We like our puns here at the Atlassian School of Magic. Now, despite having these articles, the IT team wastes a ton of time redirecting people to those troubleshooting resources or answering questions that are already covered by the knowledge base. So let's see how Scott can use AI to solve this challenge. So he heads over to the virtual agent, and first he needs to follow the prompts to connect the virtual agent to his team's Slack instance. Now once that's done, and since Atlassian Intelligence has already been enabled on his site, from the virtual agent settings menu, he can toggle on Atlassian Intelligence answers. So now, when a help seeker asks a question that can be answered by the knowledge base, it can. Let's see what that looks like. So let's spin over to Slack, where Nick is a student at the School of Magic. He's having trouble connecting to the school's NPN, that's Magical Private Network. Now, he can ask for help in that IT support channel, and he's asking, his connections keeps dropping, and the virtual agent responds immediately. Without any agent intervention, the virtual agent searches across the IT team's connected knowledge base for information about NPN issues. It generates a response along with links to the relevant articles. In this case, it presents a troubleshooting article. It looks perfect. Now, this solves Nick's problem. He's thrilled, 5-star review. But think about what just happened here. Headmaster Farquhar flipped a couple switches, and now suddenly help seekers are getting immediate answers to their help questions in the tool they use every day with no agent required. We think that's awesome. Now, AI Answers is a great option for getting started quickly with the virtual agent. You can deflect help seeker questions just by leveraging your knowledge. You can help deflect questions just by leveraging your knowledge base, which is, let's face it, why you set it up in the first place. Okay. But the second way you can configure the virtual agent is through what we call intent flows. Now these are custom, predefined conversation progressions that are dependent on the help seeker responses to the virtual agent. Now for this configuration, you do not need to enable Atlassian Intelligence to use virtual agent intent flows. Let's see how you can build one of these out. Okay, so the School of Magic's IT department wants to automate more than what can be handled by AI Answers. So Headmaster Farquhar goes into the intents section of the virtual agent and clicks Create Intent. Now, to start creating an intent, you can browse from a list of templates that come pre-populated. We have standard templates for common IT requests, and if you have AI Atlassian Intelligence enabled, we can offer some suggested templates that are based on your recent ticket data in your project. Now in this case, Headmaster Farquhar selects a template from his existing data, password resets. He knows that he receives this a lot because the system has some arcane password requirements, so students keep forgetting. So by selecting that, this pre-populates the basic intent settings, name and description, but also something else, which I'll show in a second. So he hits next. The second step in creating a virtual agent intent flow is configuring training phrases. Now, the goal here is to train the virtual agent by entering a variety of phrases that a help seeker might use when making this kind of request. They're not always going to say, I need to reset my password. So because we use a template, we have some of these pre-filled for you, but you can add additional ones. Maybe the Atlassian School of Magic has some lingo that's specific to that school, but you can refine this list, and you don't have to get it right straight away. You can add more over time. But right now, Scott's happy, so he hits Create. Now, the next step is to create is to build out the flow to guide the virtual agent on how to handle this kind of request. You want to guide a help seeker to resetting their password. Now, the flow builder requires no code and allows you to build a back and forth conversation where you specify the actions that the virtual agent can take. You might offer choices to the help seeker, multiple choice questions, or you might send a message to the help seeker. You might store a piece of information, collect a piece of information that you can use later on, and send a web request to automate an action. Now, in this case, Scott wants to guide someone to resetting their password. I fast forwarded a bit to take a tour of the flow he's created. Now, you can see that opening choice is he's offering a choice. Did you already try to recover your password with a spell? So adding that choice, that allows the virtual agent to take two different directions depending on what how the help seeker responds. Go down path A. If the help seeker says yes, do this. If the help seeker says no, do that. So when the help seeker says yes, I have tried to recover my password with a spell, we're going to, down this path, we can send a message that says, okay, we're going to try to recover your password. So that's great for setting up, that gives you a taste of what it's like to set up a back and forth conversation. But what if you want to take action? Well, you can use Virtual Agent to hook into remote services to truly automate and deliver service end to end. So one of the things you can do is, the way you can do this is by sending a web request. So where you can pass information to a web service that you control, and then based on that response, you can do different things. So you can take different actions. So if it is successful, we want to go down this path and say that means we've successfully reset the web service has successfully reset that password. And that means we can send a message to the help seeker, say, yep, we've reset it, you're good to go, and we resolve that request. Or maybe something went wrong, maybe something not very magical happened behind the scenes, and we're going to send a different message to that help seeker to say, sorry, but we're going to escalate to an agent. So in other words, we can raise that request. So now an agent can step in only for these ones where password reset didn't work for whatever reason. Now, let's see how this works for a help seeker. Let's go back to Slack, and poor Nick is having a lot of IT issues today. So he asks this question. Now notice, he says, I'm locked out of my WizLearn account again. Now he doesn't directly mention password reset, but because of those because of the training phrases we used, it matches anyway. And now you can see that he's gone through that flow. Did you, it asked the question, did you try recovering it with a spell? He said yes, and then it went off and tried and used the web request, which was successful. And it says that sends that message back to the help seeker. So Nick got, yep, my password has been reset. So now Nick is thrilled, 5-star review. And that's that. So again, the issue is successfully resolved, no agent required. So this was a sign of taking action. And again, step back and what happened here? No agent required. This is magical indeed. So over time, as your customers use the virtual agent, you'll be able to get insights for what help seekers are asking about. And you'll be able to see per each of these intents, how often they're picked up, how often they're resolved without an agent, and what is the customer satisfaction, the CSAT rating for each intent. Now this gives you the opportunity to go back and refine those intent flows. Maybe you need to add some more steps, maybe you need to offer more choices, maybe you start automating more actions. And so this really gives you the chance to have that learning loop to improve the virtual agent over time. So I've just talked about two ways to configure the virtual agent, but it's worth asking when to use each. So first, which one should you use? The answer is both. It's really when you combine these two that you get the true power of the virtual agent. But what is each best at? So AI Answers is best, well, it's super easy to configure and set up as I indicated, but it's really great for issues that can be resolved that are covered by your knowledge base. Think about things that can be handled with instructions and things that don't require a human agent. Intent flows, on the other hand, a little bit more setup required, but are great for more complex issues that require guided work, troubleshooting, information collection and triaging, or automated action. Think about things like software access requests, incident reporting, procurement requests, onboarding workflows. Intent flows are great, is also great if your team's not quite ready for Atlassian Intelligence. So if you have both of these, how do they work together? It's important to understand how that works. So when a customer sends a request, the virtual agent tries to match the intent. So it looks to see if it first looks for intents that have been configured. If none match, either because you haven't created one yet, or none of them are appropriate, it'll then fall back to AI answers and try to answer that quest using your knowledge base. So this is why we recommend starting with AI answers, starting with your knowledge base, and then add intent flows to cover specific use cases that knowledge is not capable of doing. So that's unlocking answers with virtual agent and AI answers. Now, as mentioned, virtual agent is now generally available in Slack for Jira Service Management. AI answers, which draws upon your knowledge, whether the knowledge is in JSM or in Confluence, is in beta. Now, we are looking to build this out for Microsoft Teams. Watch for updates on our public cloud roadmap. Now, I want to move on to a second capability, which is a handful of features that will help in the web issue view to accelerate work and improve your ability to quickly respond and resolve requests and incidents. So let's meet a new member of the cast, Professor Abraham. She's an agent on the IT team for the Atlassian School of Magic. Now, she's confronted with this ticket. Here, Sarah has spilt a potion on her Spellbook Pro. I mean, who hasn't? She thinks she needs a new one, but IT would like to fix her existing one first. Now, Professor Wong was handling it, but it's the end of the day for him, so he's assigned it back to his teammate, Professor Abraham, who's just starting her day in a different part of the world. Now, instead of spending time reading the entire conversation with all the back and forths that had happened on this ticket, Professor Abraham can now get a clear, concise summary of the ticket and all of the discussion, including what troubleshooting steps have been taken. And this summary is entirely generated by Atlassian Intelligence. So you can see in this case, Professor Wong had suggested a cleaning spell, which apparently has backfired, and Sarah has an upcoming exam. So Professor Abraham has decided to send Sarah a new laptop and has started writing a reply. Now, with Atlassian Intelligence, with the slight tension in the situation, Professor Abraham wants to adjust the tone with the right amount of empathy. So selects change tone to empathetic and gets a much nicer message to send to her help seeker. Now, we know Atlassian Intelligence is not going to be right 100% of the time. So Professor Abraham is able to insert the text, add a little greeting at the top, close it with wishing Sarah good luck on her exam. Professor Abraham is in control of that message that she sends. So that way, with Atlassian Intelligence, you can be thoughtful without sacrificing speed or accuracy. But as a bonus, generative AI can help you create knowledge-based articles, saving you even more time. So in your knowledge base, create an article, and then you can bring up Atlassian Intelligence, either through the slash menu or the toolbar icon at the top. You can then write your own prompt. In this case, what school supplies would a first-year Magic student need? Atlassian Intelligence gets to work, and it comes back with a draft, which you can use as a starting point, which allows you to refine it as you see fit, add, extend, but again, saving you time, getting you started right away. Simple prompt gets you pretty far. So that's AI issue summaries and generative AI in the editor. So AI issue summaries is in Jira Service Management, but generative AI in the editor, not only is it available in the knowledge base, both in Jira Service Management and Confluence, it's available wherever our editor is, which is in a majority of our cloud products from the entire Jira family, as well as Atlas and Bitbucket. The last feature I want to show you today is brand new and is currently being rolled out in limited beta. AI-powered request type suggestions. Now we're just getting started, but I want to show you the promise of what can come. So when you're getting JSM, Jira Service Management offers a number of templates and features to help make setting up a new service project easy. But new and non-technical users can sometimes get stuck brainstorming which request types to use. A new team may not know how to get started, and an existing team may not realize what other request types they might consider. So let's meet Professor Wong. Wants to create a service project at the Atlassian School of Magic. He wants to create a project for new students. Now, he's not particularly technical, and this is his first time setting up Service Desk, and he finds the process a little bit daunting. So, how can AI help? So, if Professor Wong goes into project settings, into the request type section, there's a new option in the top right, suggest. Let's see how that works. So it reveals a text area that prompts Professor Wong to describe the help that his team provides. So he says, we work at a school of magic where we support first-year students. Not a lot to go on. So Atlassian Intelligence gets to work, and it comes back with a list of request type names, and orientation information looks perfect. Now, right now, we're just suggesting request type names. In the future, we're looking to extend this to field suggestions and more. But we're just giving you a taste of what's coming, and we're super excited about to see how this can help teams get started. Now, as I said, this is a feature that's rolling out in limited beta. Keep an eye out for availability and updates in the Atlassian community. So that's AI project configuration. We're excited to see how this can help teams get started. Beyond this list here, we got quite a few exciting Atlassian Intelligence features in the works, so please keep an eye out for updates for you to try in the beta. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Nicole.
All right. So I'm very sad to say that the Atlassian School of Magic doesn't actually exist, unfortunately, at least that I'm aware of. But I do want to tell you all about a very real customer that is using some of the features that Phil just showed. OVO Energy is an energy technology leader out of the UK. They've been using JSM for years across the business, and most recently, they introduced it for their developer experience team to support their engineers. And as part of this, they introduced what they call the developer assistant. Now, as a team that works heavily in Slack, OVO's developers are constantly looking for new ways to bring some of their DevOps practices into Slack to reduce the context switching they have to do. So powered by the virtual agent, as well as the chat feature that Phil mentioned earlier, the developer assistant helps to streamline access to information and support for their engineering group so they can get help without ever having to leave their favorite tool. Now, the team can jump into a channel, they can ask a question, get immediate support from the virtual agent, or open a ticket if needed, all in one place. From day one of adopting Virtual Agent, they've been heavy AI answers users. They already had an existing knowledge base, so they've used that to generate responses to developer requests. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. After finding out-of-the-box success with the AI answers feature, they're now starting to experiment with building some of those custom intent flows that Phil showed, doing things with web requests to automate access to tools like Google Cloud Platform. And then in addition to using the virtual agent and AI answers, they're also using AI issue summaries. They commonly have tickets that have 40, 50, 60 comments on there, and that helps them loop in a stakeholder and get up to speed quickly. And they, in particular, use it alongside the virtual agent. So when they have a more complex flow that does a little bit of back and forth, that tends to result in a ticket with a lot of comments on it. So then they can use that to catch up quickly. So in terms of the benefits that they've seen, previously requests from engineers would go unanswered for hours. They had an impersonal sort of auto responder that was about the extent of their contact, and then the person could be waiting for several hours to get help. But the virtual agent's now able to respond to requests within 5 seconds. And for those that do need to be handed off to a human, they've also seen improvements, averaging now around 10 minutes because they're able to get some initial context from the virtual agent. The virtual agents also created some extra capacity for their team. They're a pretty small team. And on average, the virtual agent's been handling approximately 100 conversations per month since launching in August. And as Martin Brignall on their team said, it's kind of like having an extra person doing that much workload for them. So additionally, like we kind of talked about before, the developer assistant has helped them to avoid context and platform switching. So developers can stay in Slack, in their workflow, where they're already getting stuff done to get the support that they need. Finally, as a result of their heavy use of AI answers, they've been able to identify a lot of different gaps in their existing knowledge base. They've grown their pool of articles by nearly 90% since August. With the launch of Virtual Agent, the team decided to clean up and consolidate all these siloed knowledge base pages that were across multiple teams and create one single space for developer documentation. It's driven really great cross-team collaboration, but another great part of it is that even the employees that are not interacting directly with the virtual agent still get to benefit from this large knowledge base that they've grown out. So with the magic of the developer assistant, powered by those features that we just showed you, they've been able to resolve 23% of requests without any human intervention since August, and I think they expect that number is going to keep going up as they start to introduce some of these custom intent flows. This is also just another great example of how these capabilities are good for just about any use case. It doesn't have to be your classic IT use case. You could be a legal support desk, you could be managing HR requests, be helping developers, you could be running a magic school, and you can benefit from these features. So that's the end of our main content for today.